the salt life. The salt life. Ye are the salt of the earth. And if the salt has lost its savor, it's good for nothing but to be thrown out and trampled under the feet of men. The salt life. Driving around town every now and then, I look at bumper stickers sometimes. And there's a very popular bumper sticker, and there's a very popular shirt. And on the shirt it has the salt life. And I always wondered for a long time, what does that mean, the salt life, you know? And then I was looking for some of that paraphernalia, and I went to JCPenney's, and the guy said, that's a brand that only Bell sells. And the shirt is printed, the salt life. The salt life. And what that conjures up, or the meaning of that is a lifestyle centered around water, you know? A lot of us are drawn to the ocean, a lot of us are drawn to the mountains, a lot of us are drawn to wilderness. But the salt life means people that like to live around water. You know, that good life. They like fish, they like Key West, and they dream of going down there and living in Key West. I like that. Sometimes I think about it, you know, if I had a ton of money and one day maybe I'll take little trips to St. Augustine, to Daytona, Myrtle Beach, to Key West, and kind of live that Jimmy Buffett kind of lifestyle, you know, kind of free and easy, you know, you dress casual and you have a lot of money to eat, you eat seafood, and you just enjoy that life centered around the sea. A lot of Jesus' ministry was spent around the ocean, you know. But our title this morning is the salt life. The salt life. The Word of God tells us that we are the salt of the earth. We are the salt of the earth. And you know, when I cook, or when I was cooking some collard greens the other night, you know, from a restaurant, and I have to make sure that I put enough salt in it, or I use a little chicken base or whatever it is, you know. And then I'll make sure it's kind of salty. But most times I go to the ham store. I'm teaching y'all how to cook collard greens. You know? Oftentimes I go to the honey baked ham store, and they sell these honey baked ham bones. And 9 times out of 10, if you got a small family, you can buy a ham bone, and you can have a real nice ham meal, you know, real nice, top, first class. And then when you get finished with the bone, you put vegetables in it, you know. But anyway, you know, you spend $6 or $7, maybe $5 or $4 for the ham. And then, but in order to cook certain things, you got to put some salt in it. You got to add a little sodium to it, you know, to make it really, really taste. And us as Christians, the Bible says we're the salt of the world. It says we are the salt of the earth. And I'll get into that for a minute. But right here in this particular lesson, the 5th chapter of Matthew, Jesus goes up into a mountain, into a high place, and he gets himself comfortable, and then he begins to teach his disciples. You know, sometimes we don't want to be taught. You know, Dennis, we mentioned in the class this morning, a lot of us want to be saved. We want a Savior, but we don't want a Lord. You know, we don't want somebody to teach us and encourage us, you know, to do certain things. You know, we seem somewhat rebellious. But right here in this particular lesson, Jesus goes up into the mountain, and he begins to teach his disciples. If you're in Matthew the 5th chapter, that's probably where you need to be this morning. Matthew the 5th chapter, the first 13 or 14 verses. And the Bible says he begins to teach his disciples. And as he starts out, the first second through the 12 verses, he offers them some spiritual nuggets. What he does, he goes and he tells them about 8 things if they want to be blessed, what they need to be mindful of. In verse 3, he said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." And then he said, "Blessed are they that mourn." And he said, "Blessed are the meek." Don't you know it's good to be meek? And then he said, "Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled." He said, "Blessed are the merciful, blessed are the pure in heart, blessed are the peacemakers." And you know, we need more peacemakers today. Amen. We need people who want peace, you know, who don't want conflict and adversity all the time. You know, I hope this world was a more peaceful world. I remember, I call him Daddy Bush, George Bush's father said, he said, what this world world needs is a more peaceful and a more gentle nation. People need to be more kinder and more affectionate toward one another. You know, blessed are people that pursue peace and not trouble all the time, you know. And then he said, blessed are they that are persecuted for righteousness' sake. And oftentimes in this life, you're going to be persecuted. Even when you do the right thing, oftentimes somebody's got something negative to say about you. And people will treat you wrong in this world, you know. That's why you need Jesus. That's why you need Jesus, you know. And if you're the salt of the earth, these attributes or these nuggets, these 8 nuggets that he's given them, they should be part of your life. They should be an integral part of your life. And if they are part of your life, you will indeed be salt. You will indeed be salt. And then he said, rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for so they persecuted the prophets which were before you. And that brings us to verse number 13. That brings us to verse number 13, which said, ye are the salt of the earth, and if the salt has lost its Savior, wherewith shall it be salted? It is therefore good for nothing, but to be cast out and trodden under the feet of men. Oftentimes, when people are describing people, you know, if you're a very responsible person, if you're on time, if you take up other people's slack, if you're a very helpful person, someone might refer to you and say, well, that boy is the salt of the earth. You know, that's what they might say about you. But we, children of God, people, we have been baptized, we have obeyed the gospel, and we are endearing ourselves to live that Christian life. We should be the salt of the earth. And salt really serves 3 great purposes. First of all, salt is a seasoning. It is a seasoning. You're a child of God. If you're in a work environment, if you're a wife or a husband in a home, if you're a child in the school system, whatever your occupation is, you should add some, you should bring something to that place. There should be something about you. When people come into your presence or whatever, they say, well, this place really feels good. You know, there's something nice about this place. You know, sometimes people come to my business, they say, you know, this place got a good feeling about it. You know, it's got good, you know, people say that. People should say that about you. You should be a person, and your environment, you should change the environment. Just like salt changes the taste of things, you should make a difference. There used to be an old saying, you know, there's a thermostat. What a thermostat does, it kind of changes things, you know. But you should be a thermostat. You should be able to change the mood, change the. You should be able to do that. Where you work does your presence? Do you feel like your presence makes a difference? Do you feel like it's a better place as a result of you having been there? You know, when you leave this earth, you should say, well, maybe this was a better world because I lived, you know. Maybe I made a difference. Maybe I left something positive behind, you know. It's not about money, but the other good things that you leave behind. Amen. Ye are the salt of the earth. We're supposed to be making a difference in this world. Amen. We should be making a difference in this particular world. Not only does salt season things, but salt is also a preservative. Most of you all that grew up in South Carolina, Alabama, Georgia, y'all know about those hams, you know. Oftentimes you would go to someone's house and they would go in the smokehouse and they would give you one of those hams, you know. Salt preserves things. And don't you know it makes a difference that we're in this nation? I remember back in the Old Testament when God was getting ready to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And Lot was there, and God said, you know, the fact that his people is there, they make a difference. And Abraham kept asking God, if I can find this with you. You know, we make a difference. I believe us Christians in this country, we make a difference. Amen. With us praying and, you know, being God's children, we're making a difference in this dying and decaying world. Amen. But not only is salt as a preservative, but salt is also a disinfectant. You know, people used to put salt on wounds. You remember people would soak their feet in the Epsom salt and all kind of things. You know, we got so many other medicines these days until we don't think about salt or saline solution, about washing out a wound or whatever. But it's also a disinfectant. You know, our presence and our preaching and our teaching should encourage people to not do wrong, you know. It makes this world a cleaner place. You know, there are things that perhaps if you wasn't a child of God, that you might find yourself involved in. And when we start doing those things, we feel convicted. But we make a difference. Salt is a disinfectant also. There's a football player. His name was Michael Irvin. My first point is that as salt, you being salt, you should be a difference maker, and you should make a difference. Michael Irvin, I think he played for the Hurricanes, but last time he played for the Dallas Cowboys, the #1 American team. Is that right? Amen. So they say, you know, but they called him a playmaker. And the reason why they call him a playmaker, all you got to do is go back and watch his plays and so forth, and he could change and find everything. You know, he made a difference, and he could encourage people, the team, to do things that perhaps they didn't think that they could do. Right. Some people are that way, and you being a child of God, you should be also a playmaker. You know, you should be able to make people reach a little deeper, make people endeavor, people encourage people to do things, great things, good things for the Lord that normally they wouldn't be courageous enough to do. You are a playmaker. You are the salt of the earth. And then in that verse number 13, this is Jesus saying that. He said that ye are the salt of the earth. In other words, that was God telling us, Jesus Christ was telling them, Jesus himself was telling them about their identity. You know, oftentimes in life when we want to determine our identity, we're trying to figure out who we are, what we're here for. Sometimes it's good to have somebody, especially God, to tell you your identity. Jesus himself told his disciples, he said, you are the salt of the world. And you know, if the manufacturer, if God Almighty told you something, then you should believe it. Amen. You should believe it. If Jesus told me something, if his word tells me something, I believe what he's saying. But some of us, we look around and we get our identity from other people. What other people think about us, what other people say about us. But your identity is found in God. And right here, when the scripture says you are the salt of the world, what it's really talking about is this word influence. Influence. You know, we all got influence. All of us got influence, you know. And I pray that I influence you for good, you know. That I encourage you in the Lord. One of the purposes of worship service, one of the purposes of the church is edification. You know, we edify one another. So if the Creator says that you are salt, if the manufacturer says that you are salt, you need to believe that you are salt. You know, a car is a car. You know, if a manufacturer, Ford Motor, makes a car, and they said this is a car, you know, but the car doesn't say, I'm a car, and that makes him a car. But Jesus said that you are salt. All right. And he called you salt. So you should act like salt. So we should go about enhancing the world, go about teaching and preaching the good news. We need to do all that. And then that's another thing about salt. You know what? Salt makes you thirsty. You know, when me and my wife go to the movies, sometimes I hate to, you know, you go to the movies, you get a good deal on a ticket, and then when you get in there, when you get finished buying the popcorn and the soda, it's not a good deal anymore. You know, I mean, it's not a good deal. It's not a cheap date anymore, you know. But even whenever we go to the movie, my wife, she always like to get those popcorn, a tub of popcorn and a soda. And I be saying, well, do we really need, I'm not really hungry. But, you know, we get that big old tub of popcorn, and when you get that big old tub of popcorn, that popcorn is going to make you thirsty. Yes. You know, I would say, let's go ahead and just get a small soda. We don't need one. But when you start eating them popcorn, because of all that salt, it makes you thirsty. But you know, we as salt, we should make the world thirst for Christ. In verse number 6 in the Beatitude, he said, blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. We should make people thirst for Christ. We should make people want to pray more. We should make people want to read the Word of God more. Do you make people thirst for Christ? You make people, when people look at you on the job and they say, well, we're not going to get a raise this quarter, and you're still all right with that, you might be sick and you still smiling, Any number of things can be in your life. And they look at that and they say, I want to be like her. I want to be like him, because in this world we all go through things. The book of Ecclesiastes says there's a time for everything. We all going to face low moments in our life. We're going to face lack in our life. We're going to face rejection in our lives. We're going to get hurt in this world. We're going to get hurt in this world, And when you get hurt, you still got to go on. And when people see that in you that salt, when people see that in you, and they ask you, well, what is it, man? How can you keep your sanity under all these conditions, Why didn't you lose your cool, when all of a sudden the recession came and property values dropped and so forth, and there was a layoff and there was a cutback on the job? How do you still smile? How do you keep your sanity under that? Yes. It is because you are the salt of the world. It's because you're a child of God. That's why you can do it. You are indeed the salt of the earth, and we need to start acting like we're the salt of the earth. We need to enhance this world. We need to make people thirsty for Christ, to make people realize that they need Christ. Tell them the reason why I can smile, the reason why that I can get up when I'm knocked down is because it's what I got in the inside. Amen. That's why. If you are the salt of the earth, they'll see that in you. And God calls us to do more of that. It's not a time to be a conscientious objector. It's not a time to be a closet Christian. It's time for us to come out, Everybody else is coming out. So we need to be children of God. We need to be children of God. We need to be the salt of the earth. Amen. And we need to create a thirst in this world, and that is a thirst for Christ. Amen. A thirst for salvation. You should make people want to be saved. You make people want to be saved. So first of all, you are a difference maker. You change things. You're a playmaker. You change things. That's my first point. My second point is if I lose, when I lose, what causes me to lose my influence when my behavior is in conflict with my name. You know how sometimes people misrepresent themselves. When I was in inspection, one of the big things is that we always enforce is what's on the label. Label declaration. If you put something on a label, it has to be that. And some we label ourselves Christian. We're a member of the Lord's church. We're the Church of Christ. We're a Christ church. We're that church that Christ purchased with his blood. We try to live by the dictates of the Bible. We speak where the Bible speaks. We're quiet where the Bible is quiet. We wear his name. I don't call myself nothing but a Christian. I don't call myself nothing but a Christian. When I wasn't a member of the Lord's church, I would call myself a Pentecostal. A holiness, but now I'm a member of the Lord's church. I've studied his word. I'm in compliance with his word. And I know that one day his word is gonna judge me. Amen. One day I'm gonna have to stand before the judgment seat of God. And I'm gonna have to give an account for everything that I've done in this Bible. And when he judges me, this book, so I needed to be in compliance. I realized that I had to come out, that I needed to come to Christ, that I was a New Testament Christian. And I did what the Bible told me to do. I heard the gospel. I heard the good news. I heard it. I believed it with all my heart. I repented. I confessed. And then I was baptized for the remission of my sins. I did that. So I am the salt of the earth. And you are indeed the salt of the earth. And when you go around and your behavior conflicts with your name, it's a kind of sad thing. I remember some years ago I was at Home Depot, and I was in one area, and this brother from from another congregation, he was another, and I don't know why he lost his cool, but he just was cussing at the clerk, just really just lost it, you know. And I was so embarrassed for him. I was a busy, he didn't see me, you know. But I said, good gracious of life, you know. But if people knew where he was from, that would have been very, very damaging, you know. But oftentimes, when our behavior is in conflict with our name, then that presents a problem. You lose some of your influence. Yeah. You know, it's so very important that when it comes to our homes, when it comes to our houses, when it comes to our children looking at us and mimicking us, it's important that we not be a hypocrite. Amen. You know, children don't know how to be hypocrites yet. It takes them a while to learn how to fake it, you know. You know, old people, we know how to fake the funk. That's what they call it over there, you know. And most people, you know, things are not what they appear for most people, you know. But children don't know how to be a hypocrite. They don't know how to fake it. You know, they just see you and they do like you do, you know. So it's important that our influence be righteous at home. It's important that it be we conduct ourselves when we go out to do business. Sometimes when folks go to restaurants, I've seen people treat these waitresses so bad, you know. They ain't making much money. And some people just dog them out, you know, just because they got a little money in their pocket that they're going to spend, you know. But that's not godly. That's not the salt life. You know, we should treat everybody with dignity. All God's creation, we should treat everybody with dignity and respect. But when our behavior is in contradiction, that's not a child of God. People have an issue, and you lose your influence. You lose your influence. Amen. And then, if you're going to be what you're supposed to be, say for instance, it's like this. Say for instance, you're a first responder. You're a person that answers the emergency calls, and when somebody's in trouble, you help them. What would it be like for a first responder to go to a scene and they see somebody needing their help, and they say, I'm not going to touch him. I'm not going to touch him, you know. There are doctors, I never noticed it before, there are certain doctors that don't like to touch people. I wouldn't have a doctor that didn't want to touch me and check my fingers, you know. But there are people, I never thought that before. My brother, the chiropractor, he said there are a lot of doctors that don't like to touch people, you know. A lot of people, you know, and when people, if I go to a place and somebody, instead of putting my change in my hands or wherever, and they sit it on there and it's obvious what they're doing, that I don't go back no more, you know. Right. But if you are a certain way, if you declare yourself to be a certain way, you should be that way. We should be that way. You know, and he said in his word, ye are the salt of the earth. He didn't say you are the salt of the church. Didn't he say that? He said you are the salt of the earth. In other words, what that means is, you know, we're all well behaved when we come in here. We're all well behaved. We really are. We come in with our Bible under our hand, our big Bibles, and some of us have these markers and so forth, and then some of us have the electronic Bibles, you know, they pull things up. We all look holy when we're here, you know. We're all in our best behavior. But how are we when we leave, when we go out into the world? Amen. How are we? How do we represent Christ? You know, why do we make people thirsty for Christ? You want to make people thirst for Christ. You know, you want to make people say, I want to be saved. You know, I want to live a life. I want to live a courageous life. I don't want to be afraid of death, because, you know, Jesus took the sting out of death. He said, where is your sting? You know, he took the victory, even the grave. We don't have to fear the grave anymore. You know, we being a child of God, you're in a very, very special situation. You're in a blessed state, you know. And not only that, when I call on him, he hears my prayers, you know. Some of us don't answer our phone. Some of us really don't. You know, some people don't talk to nobody. All they do is you leave a message and they might call you back. I mean, really, there are people that they just practice that. They don't talk to you. And I respect that. You know, they can have their way if they want to. But one thing about it, my Lord and my Savior, I can call him in the midnight hour.
Right.
I don't have to wait till Sunday morning
Yes,
to
sir.
pray to him.
Yes.
You don't have to wait till Sunday morning for the brothers to offer up prayers to God for you. You know, we're in a wonderful situation. I can pray for myself. You need to know that you can pray for yourself. I can ask the Lord, I say, Lord, I got this pain, Lord, help me. Lord, I got a problem. I need a solution, Lord. I need your help. Or you have to say, well, when I get to church on Sunday, I'm asking them to pray for me. You got to be able to pray for yourself. You got to be able to go into your closet or wherever you go. You know, but don't be afraid to pray driving. Just don't close your eyes, you know. You can go to the throne of God at any time. And people need that. And you know, he'll give you peace. When you've done all you could do and you can't do no more, you can hand it over to him. You say, Lord, I've done all I know to do. You know, and you are my help, Lord. You're going to be my strength. The Bible tells me that you are my ever-present help in the time of trouble. We got that. And the world needs that, and the world thirsts for it. They don't know, some of them don't know how bad they need that. They don't know how bad they need it, but you need to make them thirst for that. Like salt makes you thirst for water. That they'll want to get into the water, you know. They'll want to be baptized for the remission of sins and have their sins washed away. Because there are many people that walk around with a lot of guilt and condemnation. A lot of people, and Jesus forgive you for all that. He'll forgive you for all that. He'll forgive you, so you don't have to walk around with guilt and condemnation. And then what also happens is sometimes the people that we should be influencing, they influence us.
Amen.
Some of us can't say no to folk. Some of us can't say no to nobody, you know. We let them lead us around. Instead of you bringing them to church, they come to town, you stay out of church. You know, the people that you're supposed to be influencing, you let them influence you. What kind of stuff is that?
Amen.
What kind of stuff is that? You know, what kind of stuff is that? When I was growing up, one thing me and my dad and all of our brothers, we all enjoyed watching wrestling on Saturday. Are there any old wrestling fans?
Amen.
Is there anybody in the house that know who Dusty Rhodes was? Is there anybody in the house that know who the great Malenko was? Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. Do anybody know who Ric Flair was?
Amen.
Ric Flair, they call him Nature Boy. And he talks a lot of stuff. And he says stuff like, I'm the diamond wearing, I'm the jet fly, I'm the limousine rider, and a whole lot of other things I ain't gonna say. But anyway, he was a great wrestler. He was very popular by that time. Back in those days, we would all get in front of the television. And my dad was usually a quiet man, you know. A lot of people, children, when they make noise, they bother them, you know. But my dad, he didn't care about you making noise, just as long as you didn't make no noise when wrestling was on. You know, he forgave everything. But when wrestling came on, you know, we all had to shut up, you know, because he just loved wrestling. But one wrestler that stood out was Ric Flair, who was called the Nature Boy. That's what he called himself. And he had a son by the name of Reed. And his son Reed, you know how sometimes boys want to be like their daddy? They want to walk like their daddy. I think about Tyler's son, the cameraman, you know, he walking around with the camera stuff and everything, you know. Children want to be like their father. But anyway, Reed wanted to be just like his daddy. He wanted to be popular like his daddy. So Reed, during the later part of his life, when his dad had retired, he was working in Japan doing wrestling. He was getting $8,000 a week. He was real popular, but during that time, he was always on drugs. You know, he was always taking things, taking opioids and so forth. And a couple of times, his dad saw him coded, saw him when he almost died a couple of times. And his dad was following him around. He was proud of his son as a wrestler. But one day, something happened. He got on drugs, and he took drugs, and he coded, you know. And when the paramedics came out, they were familiar with him because he had done that many, many times before. He had came so close to death. But at that time, they couldn't bring him back. At that time, they couldn't bring him back. So they asked Ric Flair, they said, Rick, if you could tell your son something, what would you tell your boy? He said, I would tell my son, he said I talk to him, I pray about him, and I talk about him all the time. He said, if my son was, if Reed was here today, I would tell Reed, I should have been your father, Reed. I should have used the influence I had as your father. I should have been a father. That I should have used my influence as a father, and maybe you would still be here. He said, had I been a father, maybe it would have been different. And he said, if I could tell him that, I would tell him that. But he said, what I want to do, I want to be his best friend. But he said, what I should have been as a father, I should have been his provider. I should have been his protector. I should have told him the truth. I should have been an example for him. And you know, in the judgment one day, we all might have to stand and somebody might say, maybe I would have obeyed the gospel had you told me about him. Had Willie, he worked on the job with me, he knew the truth all the time, but yet he never shared that with me, you know. Maybe you need to be salt and you're not being salt. Just like Flair should have been a father, he said. He said, I hope that I would have been a father. You know, how many people might stand before the judgment seat of God, and all of a sudden they say, Lord, I would have obeyed the gospel, but nobody never told me. He worked with me day after day on my job, and he never told me about the Lord's church. He never told me what I needed to do in order to be baptized. You know, you'll say that. But you are salt, so you need to be telling people the good news. You need to be telling people about the hope that is within you. You need to use your influence for something. Use your influence for good. Use your influence for good. And then my third point is, my third point has to do in part B of verse 13. It says, if the salt has lost its savior, wherewith shall it be salted? It is therefore good for nothing but to be cast out and trodden under the foot of men. A little earlier in the verse, salt was on the table. Now the salt is on the floor, ready to be thrown out and trodden under the foot of men. If you can't tell nobody about Christ, if you can't be a good influence for Christ, then what good are you, you know? Or do you want to be a part of the Lord's church? You want to be saved so that you can ask everything for yourself and receive all the blessings and not share it with somebody else? You know, that's what he expects us. He expects us to do better. He said what they did in the biblical days, something might look like salt, it might have salt attributes, but if it wasn't real salt, what they would do, they would throw it out so that on a wet and damp day, it could add some traction. You know, many of y'all have lived out up north, they have salt they put on the roads. He said, in other words, if you're not using your influence, it's only good for that, to be thrown out and trodden under men. And God didn't die on Calvary. He didn't get holes in his hand. He didn't get pierced in his side so that we could not tell other people about him. Amen. So that we could be trodden under the foot of men. You know, he didn't do that for all that. He didn't do that for all that. And as I close, you might say to yourself, but well, you know, I used to be this, I used to be that. But if you're a child of God, don't worry about what you used to be. Jesus Christ in part A of this verse, he tells you what you were. So it doesn't matter. He said, if any man be in Christ, he's a new creature. All things are passed away, and behold, all things have become new. Don't worry about what you used to be, where you used to go. You know, don't worry about that. You're a child of God. You got influence, and you need to use what you got. You know that old saying, if you don't use it, you'll lose it? Yes. You need to use it. Tell somebody about Christ. And as I close right here, I want to close with this particular story. This is a true story. This is a true story. You know, in this life, sometimes we find ourselves pursuing things that might be expensive. You know, you can spend a lot of money for something. It could be expensive and not have any great value. Amen. Just because things cost a lot, now that don't mean that they're valuable. They could just be expensive. But as this true story goes, in 1920, the Titanic, during the Titanic's maiden voyage as it left Britain, there were some 2,200 passengers on the ship. There were some 2,200 passengers on the ship. And we know that some 15,000 plus passengers died. What happened to Titanic? They said this ship was when you couldn't penetrate it, you couldn't break it, you know, it couldn't sink. It was 100% safe. But we know that the Titanic, it hit a big iceberg. The wrong place. It hit a big iceberg. And the reason why I tell this story is sometimes we put our trust and we put our faith in things that we think will carry us and protect us. A lot of times we chase after money. You know, we think that if we got money, we got it all, you know, that we could stand any kind of hit. But I'm here to tell you, money won't buy you health. Money won't buy you a good night's sleep. Money won't buy you peace. Money won't cure your relationships and so forth. You need more than money, but sometimes we put our hope in the wrong thing. Amen. Just because they cost a lot, that don't mean that they're that bad. But as I proceed in telling you what happened on the Titanic, there was some 2,200 passengers and some 1,500 plus died. And during, while the ship was sinking, the lifeboats were dropped. And at that time, when the lifeboat was dropped, the first thing that they was going to evacuate, the ones that they were going to take to safety, it was going to be the women and the children. The women and the children. You know, it's good when we live in a world where we still value the women and children, you know. And we put them first, you know. We put them first, and we should put them first, you know. But I imagine during that day, they probably had to fight off a lot of guys, too. You know? They were probably saying, well, I got a lot of money, you know. But it didn't matter. Women and the children were going first. So as they lowered the boat, there was this lady in one boat. And this lady was a very wealthy lady, and she had her own little cabin, you know, big, nice cabin, you know. And it was a nice cabin, and she was a wealthy lady, and she bought nice furs on board. She bought nice jewelry on board. She bought plenty of money and so forth, and valuables and so forth. And she had them in her cabin. But as they were lowering the lifeboats, and they were loading the lifeboats, she said, wait a minute. There's something I just got to go get. And the guy said, we're getting ready to leave in 3 minutes. What do you want? She said, it's something I just got to get. And he said, okay, you got 3 minutes. And if you're not back in 3 minutes, you know, that's just it. So this lady, she gets off the ship, and she started running in the ship. And when she was in the ship, she went through the casinos. And when she went through the casinos, she saw poker chips on the floor. She saw cash on the floor. She saw jewelry on the floor. She saw so many other valuable things but she ran past all that. Went past all that. She was making a mad dash to her cabin. And when she got in her cabin, she looked in the closet and she pushed back her furs. You would think that she would grab her furs. I mean, she had the real thing, you know. She didn't have no rabbit. She had the real thing, you know. And then you would think that she would grab her jewelry, of course, because it didn't take a lot to carry a lot of jewelry, you know. But she didn't get that. You would think that she would go to the cash box. I probably would have went to the cash box, you know. But she didn't do that. But what that lady did, she went through the closet. She went through the closet, and she reached and she pulled out 3 oranges. Walked past all the chips, walked past all the money, left the jewelry, left the mink coat with 3 oranges, you know. And when she got back to the ship, someone asked her, well, why? This all you got? She said, let me tell you something. When you're on a life raft, when you're in a life or death situation, money won't save you. Money won't sustain you. Mink coats, they might feel good to rub it, but they won't sustain you. But she said, when you're on a life raft, and when you have 3 oranges, you know, it'll sustain you. But you know, sometimes in life, I said this to say that, but we pursue the wrong things. Amen. Sometimes we major in minor, and we minor in major. But we need to put God first. You know, I don't know where you're at in your life right now, but I know somebody that'll sustain you. I know somebody that'll go further than the graveyard with it. You know, I know somebody that can go into a sick room. The old folks used to say, I know somebody that can be a lawyer in a court. He can change things in your life. He's got power. When he rose from the grave, he said, all power is given unto me. And all means all. And that's who you want to take with you on this journey. That's what you need in this earth. You need Jesus. And there are some here this morning that have not obeyed the gospel in accordance with God's word. I remember when I was growing up, I thought I had obeyed God. I thought I was doing things right. Yes. And then, but I hadn't done it according to God's word. And one day, I heard the preacher preach it. I heard went to many lessons, and I heard the truth teach. And at that time, I made a mad dash to get up there and get baptized. I made my way to the front. You know, I remember my daughter, we was in Texas. My daughter said, "Daddy, where you going?" You know, I was making a mad dash to the front. Amen. And at the front, the preacher, I held his hand, and he said, "Do you believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God?" And I said, I do, you know. And with that, you know, I was baptized. I was baptized for the remission of my sins. And what I did, I can find it in Scripture. All through the book of Acts, everybody that was saved did that same thing. Amen. They heard the word, they repented, confessed that they were baptized for the remission of their sins. And now I'm endeavoring to be faithful, to be the salt of the earth, you know, to tell people about Christ, to try to be a good example, you know. That's what I'm trying to do, and that's what you need to do today. Amen. You know, you don't need to be grabbing for the money. You don't need to be grabbing for the jewelry and all these other things, the praise and the prestige. You need to grab onto salvation. Amen. You need Jesus. And then if there's sin in your life, and sin is a bad thing, but you know the Bible says the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life. But you know there's this wonderful and marvelous thing called repentance. I'm so glad about repentance. You know, we talked this morning about people living in sin. You know, I talked about guilt and condemnation. But all you need to do, if you've done something publicly and openly, you need to stand up and repent. You need to stand up and repent and say, "Lord, brother and sister, pray for me. I've sinned and I've brought the church to an open shame and I desire the prayers of the saints." And then you might just have a situation where you just need to go to somebody and apologize to them. Maybe it's your wife, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a child, you know, so tell them you're sorry and ask God to forgive you. But you need to do what you ought to do. Because right now, it's like you're on a lifeboat. Because the truth is, we're all terminal. Everybody terminal. Everybody is going to die. You know, everybody is going to die. So I encourage you this morning, the salt of the earth, whatever your situation is, whatever your status is, you need to take it to Christ. You need to have the courage, and like that lady that made the mad dash and got those oranges. You need to get yourself right with God. Is there anybody here this morning that needs to get their self right with God before it's everlasting too late? Today is your opportunity. Amen. At this time, we ask you to stand and consider your situation. Consider the status of your soul. Is it well with your soul? Is it well with your soul?